The MLB season has been underway for a few weeks now, and I feel like a few things have happened that we really haven't shed too much light on. And I know that this was kind of the whole idea for some of these videos, is for me to kind of shed light on what was going on in the league that a lot of people really haven't talked about. And I thought, you know what, this is a perfect time to come on here and talk about this. Andrew McCutchen just hit his 300th home run. I think it was like a week and a half ago now for the Pirates. He's got one home run in the season. He realized he's been playing too much because I mean, he's like 37, 38 years old now. I mean, he's just riding off the end of his career. One more accolade that he needed was to hit 300 home runs. There was a lot of talk in the offseason, especially before he signed, because people were thinking maybe he was going to call it quits. I believe he signed in December to a 2-year deal. Or no, sorry, I think it was a 1-year deal, and he plans to play another 2 seasons. So I guess just this season and one more season and finish his career with the Pirates, or at least he hopes that's how it's going to end up. But I think one of the accolades that he needed to hit was 300 career home runs, and the biggest question was, is Andrew McCutchen a Hall of Famer? And I decided to kind of take a little bit of a deep dive. I've seen speculation and talk about it on Twitter and Instagram comments and YouTube videos and Twitch chats, whatever, and whether or not Andrew McCutchen is a Hall of Famer. Long story short, I believe that he is. I believe that Andrew McCutchen is a Hall of Famer. The more that I look at stuff, I think Andrew McCutchen is a Hall of Famer. I want you guys to comment down below whether or not you guys think he's a Hall of Famer or not. Now, I know that a lot of you guys are younger people that may not have really got to see Andrew McCutchen in his prime. When I was young, when I was like 12, 13 years old, when he was like at his absolute peak in all of baseball, I wasn't really watching Pirates games like that at 12, 13 years old. I knew of Andrew McCutchen, but I wasn't like watching Pirates games. I didn't know what I know now back then. So like, even if I did watch the Pirates games, I probably wouldn't even really know much, really, to be honest. So it's more so like us just looking back and kind of looking back at his career, whether or not to see that he's a Hall of Famer or not, but I think more of the older demographic, like even especially Philly fans, like Pirates fans and whatnot, that would have watched him throughout his entire career, and then whatever other teams he wanted to play for. Like I know he was with the Phillies and the Yankees and the Giants and the Brewers and whatever, but you know, it's more so Pirates fans and probably the older demographic that would have got to really watch his entire career and look at it closely, because Andrew McCutchen had a very good prime from like 20. Sorry, I think he got caught up in 2009. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think 2009 to like 2016 was his prime. So he had a relatively long prime. Most of you guys know what his accolades are, but I am going to go over them anyways. He won the MVP in 2013. A lot of people say that Paul Goldschmidt should have won MVP. I think it should have been McCutchen, because it was a little bit of a weak class as far as like MVP like voting and whatnot goes. Like McCutchen won that MVP. And these were his counting stats. And this was 2013. Sorry, I know I'm kind of all over the place, but 2013, he had 21 home runs, 185 hits. Neither one led the league. 27 stolen bases, did not lead the league. He hit 317, 404 on base percentage, which is insane, but did not lead the league. 508 slugging, 911 OPS, and a 157 OPS plus. None of those stats led the league. I feel like 2013. The more I look into the MVP class that year, like Yadier Molina was third place, and he, you know, it was just a weird year, man. It was just a really weird year. Paul Goldschmidt led the league in OPS, slugging, home runs, RBIs. I know I'm kind of all over the place, and I apologize, but I just wanted to kind of deep dive into the 2013 MVP race a little bit. Andrew McCutchen, Paul Goldschmidt, and Yadier Molina were the 3 finalists for MVP. And Andrew McCutchen got the win, which I believe he deserved. But, like, when you look at the rest of this, like, it was just kind of a weak year. Like, Joey Votto led the league in walks and OBP. But, like, he, you know, I really think 2013 was the year where it was like, this is what MVP is, right? The Pirates made the playoffs that year. McCutchen was their most valuable player. Same with Goldschmidt for the D-backs. Like, he was their most valuable player, you know what I'm saying? Yadier Molina for the Cardinals. He was their most valuable player. So, in my opinion, I've seen the 2013 award voting for the National League before, and people have said, oh, McCutchen didn't deserve MVP. He may have should have won it the year before, but not 2013. Like, I disagree. I believe he deserved that. A big stat that a lot of people look at now compared to back then was WAR, and he led the National League in WAR that for offensive players that year, I believe. Pretty sure. I know Kershaw led it in the entire National League, but he won his MVP prior to that. So, sorry, one MVP for McCutchen. He is a 5-time All-Star. He's got the Gold Glove, 4-time Silver Slugger. Say what you want about the Gold Glove. I know Gold Glove awards over the last 10, 15, even 20 years have kind of been, and even before that, were kind of more so like a popularity contest. I feel like they don't really deep dive into fielding stats and fielding attributes and whatnot and see who really deserves Gold Glove. Dalton Varsho from last year. But I truly do believe that that is enough for stats as far as stats go, or sorry, accolades go for Andrew McCutchen. Now, when you take a look at his stats throughout his career, right? Like I said, he had a good prime from like 2009 when he got called up. He was a 121 OPS plus guy. I know he only played 108 games, so he didn't play a full season. But from the age of 22 to about 29, he was a really, really solid player. And then even after that, like, he was good for the Phillies. Like, Andrew McCutchen is one of those guys that he doesn't strike out a whole lot. If he does strike out a lot, he's going to walk. Like, he's especially in his Philly days towards the end of his career, he kind of transcended into a 3 outcome type of guy. Like, he was either going to drive the ball, he was either going to walk, or he was going to strike out. And that's what a lot of people are nowadays. But if you're going to strike out at a high rate, I want you to be able to walk too, right? Like, if you're going to strike out at a crazy rate and not be able to walk, then you don't have a place in hell in this league. But anyways, like I said, I'm sorry I'm all over the place, but I'm just kind of looking over everything right now, really. I truly do believe that Andrew McCutchen is a Hall of Famer. 2,000 career hits, 300 home runs on the dot, which probably will be added to that. 200 plus stolen bases. I feel like those are accolades that, when it comes to Hall of Fame voting, they look at counting stats, they look at accolades. Those are like the top 2 things, I feel like. And kind of like the hidden thing is career WAR. Like, if you look at most of the guys, and I'm talking about most of the guys in the MLB Hall of Fame, most of them have 50 plus career WAR. That's like the hidden threshold that, like, if you have less than 50 career WAR and you don't have the accolades, then you probably won't make it in. If you have more than 50 career WAR, that's like, okay, we got to look at this guy. We got to see what they got. We got to really evaluate their career and kind of say, like, okay, do they deserve in the Hall, And Andrew McCutchen, in Fangraphs WAR, he has a 51.4 career WAR. This year, I think he's on trajectory to have a negative WAR so far, but I mean, it probably won't be too much because, like I said, he really hasn't been getting too many at-bats. Unless the Pirates deal with some more injuries, I really don't know how many more at-bats he'll get throughout the regular season. But anyways, chances are he'll probably finish his career with above 50 plus career F-WAR, so I think that, even if it's right around 50, I think that's enough. There's guys like, I know we bring up Harold Baines all the time, but Harold Baines is somebody that has 38 career F-WAR in his career, and he's in the Hall of Fame. There's guys from years ago that have poor WAR and they're in the Hall of Fame. So say what you want about the threshold. I truly believe in the threshold. 50 career WAR is like the hit. It's hidden. It's a hidden threshold. Nobody ever talks about it, but when you look at the guys in the Hall, most of the guys have 50 plus career WAR. Pitching is a different story, but offensive guys, 50 plus career WAR seems to be the threshold. And Andrew McCutchen kind of hits it on the head with all of that stuff, right? And I talked about the MVP. I think the MVP, that is a very, very big accolade. That is the biggest offensive accolade, obviously, in all of baseball. So if you have even just one of those, say what you want about the 2013 MVP race, McCutchen has it. He has the hardware. He has the trophy. So that's all that matters, right? Like, his name's in the history books, right? He is listed as the 2013 MVP. So I truly believe that Andrew McCutchen is a Hall of Famer. I know I kind of went over and just kind of jumbled back and forth from one thing to the next. Like, it's whatever, but you know what I mean. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about. I think that Andrew McCutchen is a Hall of Famer. I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are more so, because I think this has been something that was kind of brushed under the rug, man. Like, he hit his 300th career home run, and it was like, oh, let's go. Like, because I feel like going into this season, that was the thing that it was like, oh, he's one career home run away from 300. If he hits 300 career home runs, that should really help solidify his Hall of Fame case, right? And I just feel like nobody was talking about it after that. After he hit it, like the day that he hit it, after that, I didn't see a damn thing about it. And like I said, in the offseason, there was a good amount of conversation about it. Andrew McCutchen, Joey Votto, even like guys towards the end of their career like Paul Goldschmidt and other guys, like, will they be Hall of Famers whenever their career is all said and done? And Andrew McCutchen was one of those names that people were like, is he a Hall of Very Good guy? Is he a Hall of Fame type player? Is he even anywhere close? Like, and I've seen a mix of reviews, man. Like, I've seen some people saying that he wasn't going to even sniff it, like that his MVP wasn't really that valuable, and I've seen some people saying, oh, he just needs a few more things, like he needs to hit that 300 home run, he needs to finish off his career, and just stuff like that, and whatever. And like, I completely agree with that. I that's why I wanted to see him hit that 300th career home run and really solidify, like, okay, he's got 300 home runs, he's got 400 plus stolen bases, he's got 2,000 plus hits. Like, those three things right there are like, those are pretty good counting stats in my opinion. They usually don't look at counting stats as far as like career batting average or like career OBP or like career walks and stuff like that. They don't really look at that, I don't find. Or like career OPS plus, WRC plus, like they never look at that stuff. So that stuff's kind of irrelevant, even if you do want to take a look at that and kind of boost your take and whatnot. Andrew McCutchen is like a career 280, 290 career hitter, career 360, 370 plus on base type of guy. And throughout his career, I believe he's got like a 120 WRC or sorry OPS plus throughout his career, because in his prime, he was a 160 to 180 OPS plus type guy. Like, for like 3-4 years straight, he was that type of guy. I believe from like 2012 to like 2015, he was top 5 in MVP every single season. Obviously, that's when he won all his Silver Sluggers in the National League at center field. Say what you want about his defense. I don't really know if his defense was all that good, but he's got the Gold Gloves. Say what you want, his accolade is there. He's got the hardware. He's got the glove, right? Like, it's written in the history books. Say what you want about it, it's there, right? Like, same with like other guys in the past. Like, you can argue anything about any accolade realistically. Like, you can argue any MVP, you can argue any Silver Slugger, any Gold Glover, any Cy Young, whatever you want to argue. You can sit there and argue it, but the guy that won it is the guy that won it, and it's whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it is whatever. Like, Josh Donaldson, 2015, you know, he was the MVP for the American League. So many people say that Mike Trout deserved it, and does Mike Trout deserve it? Probably. Mike Trout probably deserved it that year. I, as a Blue Jays fan, will always hold Josh Donaldson dear to my heart, and I will always say that Josh Donaldson deserved the MVP because I watched every single game that year pretty much, and I know how valuable he was to our team. But as far as stats go and as far as season goes, Mike Trout probably deserved it that year over Josh Donaldson. But anyways, I'm getting off track. I'm getting way too off track. Is Andrew McCutchen a Hall of Famer? I believe that he is a Hall of Famer. I think that he's going to finish his career and be a Hall of Famer. That's really it. I want you guys to comment down below whether or not you guys think Andrew McCutchen is a Hall of Famer. Do you think he's Hall of Very Good? Were you somebody that really didn't get to watch him in his prime? Were you somebody that kind of watched him the last few years at the tail end of his career and just, you know, kind of looked back at his career? Because I will admit that I am somebody like that. I didn't watch every single Pirates game back then. I didn't watch him closely. I didn't really know. I knew of him, but I didn't know much about him. I was young at the time. I was kind of a new baseball fan. I was watching Blue Jays games, and if anybody was facing the Blue Jays, that's who I was watching. Like, I didn't have really much access to the internet, so I wasn't really like searching stuff here and there, and like, it wasn't really until I can really remember when he was traded away from the Pirates, and speculation. I remember watching a Pirates game once, and there was speculation that he was going to get traded halfway through the season because the Pirates are kind of out of the race and they weren't really very good and whatnot. Like, you guys know the deal. Like, same with any guy that's going to get traded away. And I can remember thinking, wow, okay, they're really talking a lot about Andrew McCutchen. Like, I know the name. I remember him being on the case of MLB The Show 13, I believe. I believe he was on 13. I can remember him being on the case of that, so that kind of was really where it really, like, I was like, okay, Andrew McCutchen is a really good player. Do I know much about him? No. Have I really watched him play? No. Like I said, I don't know. I didn't know back then what I know now. So I am one of those guys that kind of looks back at people's career and tries to reevaluate things, and like, you kind of know the thresholds that it takes to get into the Hall of Fame. So are you guys some of those? Are you guys some of those people that kind of look back at people's career? Did you get to watch Andrew McCutchen? Are you a Pirates fan that got to watch Andrew McCutchen throughout his prime? Because I feel like there's something else you got to also look at, and they don't really talk about this too much. And I feel like nobody ever talks about this too much because the MVP award in baseball is so different from other sports. Like, and I know I keep just talking about MVP, but anyways, the MVP award is something that is completely different in baseball because one singular player cannot carry an entire team. It's different in the NFL, it's different in the NBA. One singular player can completely turn around a franchise when it comes to the NBA. Now, those early 2010s Pirates teams were built pretty good. Like, Andrew McCutchen was not the only guy on the team. He was the best player on the team. The Pirates prior to that were trash for a very long time. Like, even dating back to like the Willie Stargell days in the 70s. Like the Pirates were poor. They were not a very good team for a very long time. 90s, 2000s Pirates, they had a few players here and there. Jason Kendall, what's that guy's name? Sanchez, Freddie Sanchez. Like, they had a few guys here and there, but they didn't really have any good seasons. They were one of the poorer teams for those 20 years. Andrew McCutchen was one of those guys that kind of turned that team around, turned that franchise around for majority of his time while he was there. Like I said, he wasn't the only guy there. They had a lot of other players, but like he was the main piece, right? Like, he was the most valuable piece, right? So, and that's something that a lot of people don't look at, like how actually valuable they are. I know WAR is one of the best stats to look at, but that is value right there, right? Like, that is value. Turning a franchise around like that after being a very poor franchise for a very long time and being able to pretty much turn them around and put them in the right direction for at least a few years. Like, they were a good contending team for a few years. They were in the postseason multiple times. Like, and even since then, they really haven't done much. I know they're in a good rebuilding phase right now, but, the Pirates had a little bit of a stint there in the early 2010s, and McCutchen was at the helm of that. So, that's something that a lot of people don't look at whenever it comes to MVP and when it comes to actually being a valuable player. But anyways, in my opinion, I think Andrew McCutchen is a Hall of Famer. Like I said, I want you guys to comment down below. A little bit of a sneak peek for what I want to talk about next week is the Cleveland Guardians, man. The Cleveland Guardians in baseball right now, they have the most wins in all of baseball. 15 wins so far. Nobody is talking about the Cleveland Guardians at all. At all. And I'm excited to talk about them next week. Hopefully they're in similar position by the time we come back on here. But, I'm excited to talk about them because this is a team that I've watched a few times now. And I've watched very closely to them. And coming into this season, I had zero expectations for the Guardians. I didn't think they were going to be very good at all. And they've completely turned things around so far. Stephen Vogt, new manager for the Guardians. Maybe a different type of direction. Josh Naylor has been playing really well. I don't want to get too far into it because I want to talk about it next week. But anyways, the question of this week is Andrew McCutchen a Hall of Famer? I want you guys to comment down below. We stream 5 to 6 times over on Twitch under the same name. The link will be in the description down below. And I will see you guys in the next one.